Sup, nation? Hope you are having an amazing Wednesday. My name, of course, Philip DeFranco, but let's talk about the news at Tap stuff and things that matter to me today. And nation, the first thing I want to talk about today is Brazil. And that's because the Brazilian government just rolled out this new thing they're calling Redemption Through Reading, a program that they started to help solve prison overcrowding, promote literacy, and empower inmates. And the program really is what it sounds like. Currently, they're testing this out in 4 federal prisons, and essentially what will happen is an inmate will choose a literature book, a science book, a classic, or really anything they want. At the end of the month, they will write an essay on it, and then they will be graded. And if it is good enough, they will get 4 days off of their sentence. They're allowed to do this once a month, so by the end of the year, they can cut down their sentence by 48 days. And my initial reaction to this was kind of shock, like, how is this a real thing? But then I was even more shocked when, according to the New York Daily News, that this is happening stateside, specifically the Bay Area. And I really can't help but think, does this make sense? Does reading help rehabilitate? I mean, I know when I read, I feel like a much better person. I feel like I've accomplished something, and, you know, maybe I'm leading my life in a better direction. And they're not gonna offer this program to just anyone. Like, if you murder someone, they probably won't ask you to read a book. Or will they? It's really up to the government and how overcrowded the prisons are. Because another way to look at it is like, hey, person that's in jail for some reason, probably because you did something bad. This is pretty much the accelerated reader program, but for criminals. And ultimately, I'm sharing this story because I want to know what you think in the comments down below, video response, whatever you want to respond with. Because a huge part of me thinks that this is just a bullshit program. Like, really? It doesn't make sense, but if they added a stipulation that it only goes towards people that maybe, say, have non-violent crimes, like that's the reason they're there, then yeah, why not? And then, of course, we have to talk about Colorado, which is just on fire. In fact, the wildfire doubled just last night, now covering over 24 square miles and has forced mandatory evacuations for over 32,000 people. And just looking at this video, it really is like the unfortunately named Government John Hickenlooper says. It looks like the worst movie set you could imagine. It's almost surreal. You look at that and it's like nothing I've ever seen before. Right now, they're saying the fire is 5% contained, which sounds a lot better than it's 95%. Oh my God! But ultimately, it doesn't seem like they know if they can stop it or if there is a way to contain it. Especially, I mean, in Colorado, you have like record-setting heat and there was a massive drought. That's just fire on parade. But Superman ultimate point to those in the nation in Colorado, I hope you are safe, I hope you are getting out of there and you're not stupid and you're like, oh, it's totally not gonna affect me. I love your faces and I would be satisfied if you died. A nation from there, let's move on to our BAMF of the day, Mr. Delroy Simmons. Because yesterday was a normal Tuesday in New York and Delroy was on his way to an interview. And he was just standing waiting for his train when all of a sudden a big gust of wind hit everyone. Most notably, a 1-year-old baby, its stroller, was pushed onto the tracks. And the way witnesses described it is that with no hesitation, Delroy jumped onto the tracks in front of an oncoming train, got the baby, jumped back up, and saved the baby's life with only moments to spare. The baby does have a serious head wound and is expected to recover. Delroy was hurt himself. Now the bad thing for Delroy is because of this, he missed his job interview. And if you think about it, before people started covering this story, he was fucked in kind of a hilarious way because there's really no way to call in to someone that you're gonna have an interview with and be like, I can't make it today, I jumped in front of a train to save a bleeding baby. Yeah, okay, I don't need to come in for the interview. No, I'm not high on bath salts. No. Yes, really. I agree with you. I think we need to come up with a new hand signal to mean I'm talking on the phone. But the good news for Delroy, I don't know if it's because the story came out or what, but he was able to reschedule the interview to today. So good luck to you, Mr. Delroy. You should be able to get the job, especially since now you can add baby rescuer and BAMF of the day to your resume. It's good that we have people like you in the world. And Asia, next up, let's talk about a little bit of sexy news. I was originally just gonna talk about Katy Perry because, you know, she had her premiere in Hollywood. She looked kind of hot and weird. I dig it, I like it, but someone from the nation sent me a link to a girl that, wow, and there was a lot of pictures and many of them were nice. But the thing that threw me off is I cannot find this girl's real name anywhere. Literally, the only way I can find this girl is to type in her nickname, which is, and I'm not joking, Baby Vegan Booty. I'm only showing you these pictures here because these are the only ones I can actually show you on a YouTube video. If you want to see why this is her nickname, link down below to a gallery I made, along with links to much bigger galleries. And I just had to share this girl because her body it defies white girl science. And also something I wanted to feature today, you know, the gay guys and the straight ladies always complaining, where's my man meat? Well, a bunch of the behind the scenes of Magic Mike, the movie about Channing Tatum being a stripper, and also everyone else being a stripper, was released onto the internet. So links to that down below. Also, side note, did you know Magic Mike's getting amazing reviews on Rotten Tomatoes? It has like an 86% and everyone's saying it's good. So a little something sexy for you, nation, and we move on. And nation, from there, we move on to something that it's a real issue. It's a serious issue, and it's about what's happening in Syria right now. The last time we talked about Syria, another town had just been attacked. Rebels had taken over a base for a little amount of time. Then President Bashar al-Assad's troops shelled them. They had to get out of there. Al-Assad's regime saying that they had nothing to do with the towns and that it was people from outside the country trying to cause cause conflict. Since then, there have been reports, speculation about the CIA giving the rebels weapons. Then, Syria shot down a Turkish fighter jet. Some countries saying this is a hostile act, Syria saying it wasn't, even though the Turkish fighter jet looked like it was in international airspace. Then there's been a lot of talk and worry about President Bashar al-Assad's chemical weapon stockpile. Then we have earlier today the Syrian president abandoning his claims that the regime was merely fighting terrorists sent by foreign powers to destabilize Syria, and said the country is in a real state of war, a civil war. Today, some of the war's heaviest fighting near Damascus took place, and pro-Assad television station about 12 miles south of the capital was overrun by rebels who reportedly killed the employees there. And there have been reports that many veterans from the Iraq conflict are fighting against Assad as well. And with how fast everything is happening in Syria, I will try to keep you up to date as best I can. The situation right now is out of control, and there's a lot of misinformation, but now that the country is officially in a civil war, it will be interesting to see what happens next, especially with NATO meeting over the weekend to talk about Syria. And the nation, the last thing I want to talk about today was the Google I/O event. They announced a ton of stuff, and I'm going to try and break it down as fast and easily as possible. It has been rumored for a while Google was going to release a tablet, and today they did with the Nexus tablet. It has this processor, this RAM, this front-facing camera, and this battery, a 1280 by 800 7-inch screen, and the big thing is the 8GB model comes in at $200, the 16 at $250. So what does it compete with? Not the iPad. The iPad is still in its own class, but many people are saying it is the Kindle killer, which means that this new Nexus tablet could be the king of media consumption tablets. Because while it does not have Amazon Prime, it does have Google Play, which just added a ton of new movies, TV shows, you have your magazine, your books, your games, and the Nexus tablet will also come with the new Android operating system, Jelly Bean. Because I love naming things after food. I can't wait to see the benchmark comparison between Android ice cream sandwich and Android organic salsa dip. I'm hearing really good things about organic salsa dip. So what's new? The apps update faster. That being because when you update, you actually only get the new information you need. You don't have to re-download the entire app. It's super fast, it's super smooth, and it's part of Project Butter. Of course it is. And everything runs at 60 frames per second, so it's very pretty. You can customize the home screen a little more. You can type with your voice even when you are offline. And to break away from the fastness real fast, this was really awesome because it looked like the voice recognition software had like smart technology, because inside the two sentences that he was saying to the phone, it originally thought he was saying another word, but as the sentence went on and it knew the context and where he was going, it changed the word to what he meant. They didn't even bring that up, but it looked awesome. Nicer camera app, blah, blah, blah. New notifications, blah, blah, blah. And finally, a new search engine that works much like Siri. And obviously, there are not a lot of people using it right now, but I will say it looked like it responded a lot faster than when I asked Siri a question. So it'll be interesting to see if Jelly Bean can keep up. That sounds so fucking ridiculous. Then Google talked about Nexus Q, which did not get me excited. It's this little orb-like thing that costs $299 that allows you to stream from a cloud service. Or when friends come over for a barbecue, they can stream their music instead of your shitty music. And then Google had easily one of the most amazing, oh, and there's one more thing moment. And that was when they featured Google Glass, and oh my god. They were like, how do we introduce Google Glass? By live streaming people jumping out of an airplane with Google Glasses, and rappelling from buildings, and riding BMX bikes, and having sex with your mom. And it was awesome. The only negative thing you could really say, and it's hard to say it about a thing that's so new, it's not even close to being done yet. In fact, it's so not ready for the consumer market that they were like, hey, out of the 6,000 of you here, if you live in the United States, you can buy a developer model of the Google Glass, and it's $1,500. You're not gonna get it till next year, but that's, you know, you get to beta test it. And the thing they really did feature was the camera working with Google Plus and just recording memories. But speaking purely from a vlogger standpoint, I am so excited about this. I don't know how like 98% of people will use this, but this is like a vlogger's dream. Never having to whip out the camera, like you literally just go tap and it records, and I hope it's like at least 720p. Also, side note, they look cool on some people and other people just are like weird cyborgs, which could be cool. And nation, that brings us to the question of the day today. Do you think Google Glass or the Google Glasses are something that you would use? What would you use it for, and what would you like to potentially use it for? Like, what would be a wish list? Let me know in the comments down below or in a video response. And nation, that brings us to the part of the show where I throw something at your face, and today it is a $100 Amazon gift card. Of course, to possibly get pelted in the face with said thing, just leave a comment on this video. Also, very big thanks if you clickety-clack the like button, favorite, shared, wherever you share things, it helps the nation grow. But whether you did or not doesn't change the fact that my name's Philip DeFranco, you've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you tomorrow. In a hotel room. At VidCon. It's probably gonna be a shitty video.